What's up, guys? I know it's been a while, but we are back to go over another video, and we're just gonna jump right into it.
All right, I'm gonna say some shit that's gonna make a lot of relationship gurus mad. Marriage is not work. Stop saying that shit. Your words are powerful, and you conjure up shit when you say certain shit. I'm not getting in no relationship or marrying my damn supervisor. You want to come home to work? When I hear people say marriage and relationships is work, they speaking from the moments they want to smack the shit out of the other person. And that's life. Life is work. It's not work. Some of y'all just chose the wrong motherfucker. And that's work. And some of y'all gonna say that's a fantasy. That ain't reality. Y'all trying to live a fantasy. I think marriage is a fantasy. Yeah, I don't want to live in real life. Have you been out here in the real world? Marriage in general is a fairy tale. You put on a good ass, nice gown, gather everybody up in a ceremony, and to tell everybody we go together even more. If that ain't some Disney ass. Marriage is supposed to be some happily ever after, beautiful love shit with two people. Where did that get lost at? Like, you ever see two old, happily married moms? They always flirting with each other and shit. They figured it out. Y'all gonna get it. Y'all gonna find somebody. But then again, don't listen to me. Go ahead and go to work and come home to your marriage/second job and shit. And your wife, your manager, and your kids, your little ignorant ass coworkers. Go ahead. Don't listen to me.
I like him. All right. I have to agree 100%. I have been toying with this and rolling this over in my mind because you see a lot of marriage is hard work, and if you put in the effort, then you get this, and it's a lot of work, but it's worth it and all of that. And you have coworkers and they be like, yeah, how's life going? Or they ask you about your spouse, and a lot of people be like, they get on my nerves, but that's my man, that's my woman, that's my wife. I'm gonna stick with them. But really, it ain't supposed to be like that. It's not work. Is it work being married to me? Hard work, I should say.
You want me to tell the truth?
Yes, I want you to tell the truth.
All right. No, it's not. It's not hard work. I think so. I've used that term before in the past. That
it's used real loosely.
Yeah, that marriage is work. But in my mind, when I think about people who use that term to describe marriage, and even when I was using it, I never thought about it as being like physical labor. I always thought about it in the mindset that it was actually just putting in effort. Yes. Because when, every marriage, every relationship is going to have those ups and downs. Y'all going to fight. You're going to have arguments. You're going to have disagreements. And it's in those moments when you figure out whether or not, you are really in this thing for real. And in that particular setting, to me, that's just you putting in the amount of effort that you need to actually continue going past this particular point of whatever disagreements you guys are having. I mean, I don't think it's work, but as I said, it's that effort. But you got to have effort. If you go into a relationship or into a marriage expecting not to put in any kind of effort, thinking that, okay, well, it's supposed to be easy coasting, it's not what it's going to be all the time, but you shouldn't have to toil and work yourself to the bone to keep everything floating at a comfortable pace.
Home is supposed to be your peace. Like, you're not supposed to come home and stress and argue and fight and work. Who wants to do that? I'm with him. I'm clocked out from work. Why I gotta come here and do more work? I'm not doing this with you.
Right.
That's nah.
Nobody's trying to do that, but I think the issue is this. Unfortunately, too many of us enter into marriage with the mindset, well, if it don't work out, I could just get a divorce. Yeah. You may not be thinking that at the forefront of your mind, but as you look at the divorce percentages, it's clear that people don't really be wanting to work through things.
But I think the other thing also is a lot of people enter into these marriages or relationships without having fixed things beforehand. And so you're carrying all this other stuff over in there, and it's just piling up, and you got the snowball effect, and it's just not working out. And again, home is supposed to be your peace. I'm supposed to be able to come home and just be, not have to work at stuff. Like, of course, obviously, like you said, putting in the effort, but effort and work are two very different things. Effort is, you mentioned that, you wanted something in particular to eat and I cooked it. That's not work. We all gotta eat. That's just effort. That's consideration. Versus I gotta go home and argue with this man about where he been all night, or argue with this woman about, her friend that won't stop whatever it is she doing, and I don't like nobody who wants to do that.
This to all y'all that like to, get out of work and you drive to the house and you sit in the car for 20 to 30 minutes because you got to build
Prepare
yourself
up.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be like that.
No,
it's not supposed to be like that.
Not.
Maybe in those situations, if you feel that way, then you might need to go see somebody about that, because you shouldn't, you shouldn't feel a certain type of angst, before you get home.
A weight.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be like that.
And you shouldn't be looking to escape your home either. Like,
right.
When's the next time I can be out? Some people use work as an escape from home too, though.
That is true. That's because they got them work husband and work wives. That's why they use work. They cheating.
Don't start with that.
That's what y'all doing. Y'all cheating. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with him. It's not supposed to be work.
It's not.
It's not.
I like the way he put it. Like, marriage is supposed to be a fantasy. We all know that it's not a complete fantasy, and
nowhere near.
There is gonna be good days and bad days, but every day shouldn't be a bad day. Every week shouldn't have a bad day, and every month shouldn't have a bad day in it.
Right.
Like, it really is supposed to be your happy place. Like, this is my happy place. I come to him to be happy, not to be stressed out. That just don't sit right.
That is true. I mean, but to go back to what I said, about people entering into marriage and having their mindset on, okay, well, if it don't work out, I could just get a divorce. Why do you think that is? Why do you think it's so many people that think like that? Like, what do you think that comes from?
We've kind of made divorce a little normal. Honestly, like, once upon a time, divorce was like taboo. And so you did kind of put forth, I feel like the generation before us and the generation before that put forth more effort just because it was taboo. Now, no one is saying stay in a horrible marriage, but I think we're so quick to give up. Especially now with like the whole instant gratification situation, and if things are not working out, we're quick to say, this isn't for me, without actually trying to fix anything. And a lot of times, in all actuality, the stuff that needs to be fixed is real basic. It's really just a lack of communication.
Right. That's the main thing.
And a lack of consideration.
But you talked about, the people before us, the generation before us, putting in more effort. You know what people are going to say?
What?
People are going to say, well, the women had to stay with those men because they didn't have jobs, and if they left, they would be on the side of the road, broken, destitute.
Both my grandmas, well, one of my grandmas was married and her husband died, but she raised 10 kids with no husband, and the other one raised the kids.
But do you think that
no husband? She was never married. They was just fine.
But yeah, I mean, you say that, and people will say, well, that's just your anecdotal experience.
Okay, take it as you will, but I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm not saying it was easy. I'm not saying that did not exist. Like our grandmothers and great grandmothers didn't stay in unhappy, unhealthy relationships, because it did happen. But there are plenty that stayed because they were happy, because it was where they wanted to be, because it was their peace.
I think it was plenty that did that. I also think it was some that wanted to get out, and I think it was some that stayed because they had a sense of duty to the family.
I agree 100%.
You think about Big Mama holding the whole family together. Even though Papa was a Rolling Stone, she stayed there. Now, I don't advocate for that at all.
No, we don't advocate for that at all.
But I think grandmas, the grandmas of yesteryear, not these new grandmas of this year who want to hang with the moms and the grandbabies and go to the club and do all. Not those grandmas, because those grandmas, They different. But the older grandmas, I think they put more, as you said, effort into trying to keep the family together. I don't always think it was because she didn't have money or she couldn't work. Didn't they used to
And I
have these
think it
little
was
nest eggs off to
also,
the
yes,
side?
they did.
So
They absolutely don't let your right hand know what your left hand
that's it.
doing. Yes, it's
Daddy
a
come
real
home,
thing.
give grandma the check, cause daddy don't, he don't know how to get these
But
bills paid.
I
Grandma
also
stashing money
think
off to the side.
that our grandfathers and great grandfathers put in more effort too. I don't think it was a one sided thing. I think they also put in more effort. And it wasn't, I think we like to think, oh, she was miserable, but she stayed for the kids or she stayed for the family. And I just don't think that that was the case for a large majority of people. I think we like to rest on those poor or bad situations and not focus on the happily married couple that's been together for 65 years.
Like the one that he said, the one that like flirt around.
Yeah,
Like
they
y'all seen them old people.
exist.
Come on now.
That's
Some of
what it
y'all,
is.
some of y'all got grandparents like that.
Exactly.
So yeah, everybody. It just seems like today's society likes to catastrophize all of the marriages and the relationships that happened way back when in the early 1900s or whatever you guys want to talk about. But again, I don't think that it was. Now this is a theory. Because
Right.
no, I wasn't there, and honestly, everybody saying that all of these marriages were in shambles. Those are theories as well, because nobody was there. So I don't know. I take everything with a grain of salt. I prefer to err on the side of good than on the side of bad.
I also think the other thing that we have to consider is making sure that before we get married, this is really the right person I should be marrying.
Right.
So let's not dive into a burning ship, right? Let's make sure the ship is structurally sound before we go jumping in there.
Right,
Like
right.
that's the other key takeaway. Like a lot of, unfortunately, there are people who are just married to the wrong person, and it's not gonna be a peace because that's not where you were supposed to be. Y'all are not, and it doesn't mean that she's a bad person or that he's a bad person. Just that you guys are not good for each other.
Right.
You may go out and find the man or woman you were supposed to be with, and it truly is your peace.
I agree. I agree 100%. Yeah, that diving into relationships and not, vetting the person carefully and just overlooking all kinds of red flags because I don't know, I guess you idolize marriage and you just want to be married
You
so
married
bad.
for the sake of being married.
Now,
Don't do that.
typically now this isn't an issue for men. This is typically an issue for women because men aren't typically, man, I got to get married. Man, my family been telling me to get married for so long. Every time my grandma, my auntie
They
come around,
exist,
they're asking me.
These men do exist.
They do exist, but I don't think that they're in large quantities though.
Probably not as
I don't
large as
think,
women.
And when I say that, when I say what I'm saying, I'm saying that you don't hear a bunch of men talking about, man, I can't wait to get married, X, Y, Z. But you do hear women talking like that.
You do.
Now, the men want to get married, but they're not ranting and raving about it, though. You know what I'm saying?
But these women are not marrying themselves.
Yeah, I know that.
So I'm just saying, it's an equal.
No.
He may not be ranting or raving about it, but he could still just be getting married for the sake of getting married. Because they got married. She get married by herself. They got married.
I don't know how common that is. The dude just be getting married just to get married. That would be, that seems awkward to me for a man to do that.
You think so?
Yeah.
I disagree.
The way marriage is painted for a man versus for a woman, I don't see a male growing up saying, man, I can't wait to get married. Because think about how marriage is painted in the media and in movies, and even when you talk to the elders in your family. Like with women, they're always asking, well, when you gonna get married? When you gonna do this? They ask the men that too, but not as much as they ask the woman. They tell the woman, your clock is ticking.
I get that, but I still think that there are men who are getting married just for the sake of
What would be
getting
the-
married because she didn't.
pushed him?
Yeah. So
But that's
get
not
married
him.
for the sake of getting married.
But that's not him getting. He's being cornered in that. I think.
It's still married for the sake of being married. You're not marrying her necessarily because you're ready to be married.
I mean, yeah, but
Or because you're ready to be married to her. Let me say that.
right. But in that situation, again, I think that the man is being pushed into it, and I don't think he would have necessarily made that decision on his own.
Doesn't matter the reason. You're still getting married for the sake of getting married.
I guess. I
Because at the end of the day, she'd hold a gun to your head to tell you to marry. Like, y'all both made the decision to get married.
She didn't, but when it comes down to situations like that, a lot of times it's kind of like you feel like it's an ultimatum. No, it's not a gun, but I love you and I don't want to lose you. You know what I'm saying?
If you love me, you don't want to lose me, then it would seem that you would want to marry me.
Right
and
now,
I wouldn't
though-
have to corner you into it.
Right now, though, it's been 6 months. You can't give me.
Come on, man. How many people get married after 6 months?
How many people get engaged after 6 months?
Mind your business.
All right. More people than you know. But I mean, but you got to understand though. I think a man, you know, I think he knows before a year to 2 years if he wants to marry a woman.
I think so.
You can see those features and those
So
characteristics.
then
come
the
up.
question becomes, if you've been with this woman 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and
What's
you
that?
knew at 6 months that you didn't want to marry her, why you stick around so long?
What you mean?
Wasting both our time.
For the perks. You,
Go find somebody else to have perks
I-
with. You're wasting my time
I-
and your time.
Actually, we're wasting each other's time.
100%.
And we're wasting our own time. Well, the thing is, I can't remember what the saying is about the doggone cow and the milk.
Why buy the cow when you get the milk for free?
And that's what it is. He's getting all of the milk from the cow.
Go get the milk from
free.
somebody else for free, though.
I-
You know you don't want to marry me.
I
And you give me
agree.
just enough to keep me hanging on.
I agree. I agree with what you're saying. But I'm just telling you why some men do that. You haven't displayed the characteristics for him to lock him down. You've only displayed the fact that you can bust it open and, you know, you can cook sometimes. Sometimes you're
Why you
pleasant to
wasting
be
our
around. What?
Why are you wasting our time?
I mean, I'm not wasting anybody's time. I was on it. I knew what I needed to do. I didn't waste anybody's time. But yeah,
That's crap.
I don't have any answers for that.
That's crap.
But for what I said, you know, he's getting the milk.
Go get the milk from somebody else and stop wasting folks' time.
That is true. That is true.
Go get the milk from somebody you want to buy the cow from.
Yeah, I mean, so the takeaway advice that you have for this is what exactly?
Because we got way outside.
We gotta wait. Sorry, guys. Sorry about
Per
that.
usual. The takeaway is marriage is supposed to be your peace. It's supposed to be a happy place. No one is saying that it is always cotton candy and rainbows, but it is generally supposed to be your peace. You're supposed to feel at peace and comfortable with your partner, with your spouse, within your home. It's not supposed to be chaos and raised voices and all of those things, disagreements and all of that stuff.
I like your advice that you're giving, but I'm slightly confused on something that you said, and maybe you guys are slightly confused too. Maybe you get it. I don't know. When you say marriage is supposed to be your peace, I don't know if I necessarily agree with you on that. So maybe you can expound on that.
It's supposed to be a peaceful place.
Okay.
Okay, nothing or no one can be your peace. Your peace comes from within, obviously. But it is supposed to be a peaceful place. It's supposed to be a place that I can rest in and feel comfortable and not stressed out or upset or what have you. It's supposed to be my peaceful existence.
I understand. I understand. I agree. I agree. So basically, if your marriage isn't peaceful, then
Probably see somebody about that.
yeah. But you probably should have saw somebody before.
Probably, but if you already in it, you know, you're going to have to put in some work.
Nah,
Listen,
It's not work, it's effort. Remember?
okay, fine. You might have to put in a little bit of work if it's not peaceful to get to the peaceful. And then it'll just be effort.
Okay.
But you're going to have to put in some emotional and mental work first.
I cannot disagree with that. But we're going to leave it right there. We've talked for way too long tonight. Got all off topic. It was good seeing you guys again.
Great seeing you guys.
Peace.
Good night.